It started with water, water that ran dark, almost black, from the taps of the Cecil Hotel. Water that tasted strange, metallic, some said. Sweet, others whispered. The guests didn't know what to make of it. The pressure was low, the color inconsistent. One woman tried to brush her teeth and gagged. Another made coffee and poured it out after the first bitter sip. The hotel's staff said nothing at first. Old building, old pipes. These things happened. But the complaints kept coming. Room after room. Floor after floor. Something was wrong. So a maintenance worker climbed to the roof to check the water tanks. They weren't supposed to be accessed by guests. The door to the stairwell was locked and alarmed. The tanks themselves were heavy, sealed with metal lids that took effort to pry open. He opened one. And there she was, floating, face up, limbs pale and still, her dark hair spread out around her like a halo, naked, alone. Elisa Lam had been missing for 19 days. The police were called. The building was evacuated. The rooftop became a crime scene. But long before the coroner gave a cause of death, long before the hotel sanitized the tanks and replaced the pipes, the whispers had already begun. Because people remembered the footage, that elevator video, that last glimpse of her, alive, and nothing about it made sense. Elisa Lam had arrived in Los Angeles alone. She was 21 years old, a student at the University of British Columbia, born in Vancouver to immigrant parents from Hong Kong. She was bright, thoughtful, awkward in the way that thoughtful people sometimes are. She liked fashion and photography, quoted classic literature on her Tumblr blog, and wrote long posts about loneliness, depression, and what it meant to live with bipolar disorder. She had left home hoping the trip would change something. She had gone to San Diego first, then to LA, and planned to continue north, stopping in Santa Cruz, maybe San Francisco, before heading home. She was careful, called her parents every day, traveled by Amtrak and Greyhound, kept a journal, bought books, smiled in photos. She checked into the Cecil Hotel on January 26, 2013. At first, she stayed in a shared room. But after 2 days, her roommates asked to be moved. They told hotel staff Elisa had been acting strangely, leaving notes on their beds, locking them out, muttering to herself. The staff obliged. Elisa was moved to a private room, alone. She was last seen alive on January 31st. She failed to check out that morning. Her belongings remained in the room, her wallet, her medication, her laptop. The bed was made. The room was undisturbed. She was gone. Her parents, frantic, called the police. The LAPD began a search. Flyers were posted. Her face appeared on the news. Detectives questioned guests and staff. Cadaver dogs were brought in. They searched the entire building, including the rooftop, but turned up nothing. Weeks passed. There were no new leads, no sightings, no clues, until the water started to taste wrong. And then there was the video. Released by police in a desperate attempt to generate leads, the security footage from one of the hotel's elevators showed Elisa on the day of her disappearance. It was time-stamped February 1st, though some claimed the timing was inconsistent. The quality was poor, the resolution grainy, but what it showed was unforgettable. Elisa enters the elevator wearing a red hoodie, black shorts, and sandals. She steps to the panel and presses several buttons. Then she steps back. Waits. The door doesn't close. She looks out, steps forward, peers left, then right. Quickly, as if she's afraid of being seen. She flattens herself against the wall, presses into the corner like she's hiding. Then she steps forward again, faster this time, leans out into the hallway as though checking if someone is following her. She backs into the elevator, then out again. She raises her arms, her hands twitching in odd, stuttering movements, almost like she's trying to feel something invisible. Her fingers fan out, move in strange patterns. Her mouth moves too, as if she's talking to someone, But there's no sound. No one else appears on camera. Then suddenly she's gone. The door closes, the elevator descends. And that's the last confirmed image of Elisa Lam alive. The video went viral. Tens of millions watched it within days. People were captivated, disturbed, haunted. There was something wrong with it, something they couldn't name. Some claimed the footage had been edited. That time had been cut, frames removed. The timestamp jumps, the door malfunctions. People speculated wildly. Some said she was playing the elevator game, an urban legend from South Korea in which pressing buttons in a certain order supposedly opens a gateway to another dimension. Others believed she was being followed, that someone was just out of frame. Some said she looked possessed. Paranormal theories bloomed. But there were practical ones too. Elisa's behavior, many said, could have been the result of a manic episode. She had spoken openly about her bipolar disorder. The autopsy would later reveal that she had taken her prescribed medications, but possibly at reduced levels. Some of the drugs were missing from her bloodstream entirely. Could she have gone off her meds? Could she have entered a psychotic state, fled to the roof, and climbed into the tank herself? Maybe. But there were problems with that theory. The door to the rooftop was supposed to be locked and alarmed. Staff claimed the alarm would have gone off if opened. The only other access point was a fire escape. Elisa would have had to climb a metal ladder, cross a narrow platform, and lift a heavy tank lid to get inside. The lid, some said, was found closed. Others said it had been open. Reports conflicted. The tanks were not easy to enter and impossible to close from the inside. She was found naked, her clothes floating nearby. No trauma to her body, no evidence of sexual assault, no drugs or alcohol. The cause of death, accidental drowning. But even that felt like an answer that raised more questions. Internet sleuths dissected everything. They analyzed the elevator video frame by frame. They pulled hotel blueprints. They calculated distances, studied her Tumblr posts, interviewed staff. They found coincidences that felt like clues. One pointed out a strange fact. Just days after Elisa's body was found, a tuberculosis outbreak occurred near Skid Row, just blocks from the hotel. The name of the test kit used to detect the outbreak? LAMELISA. It stood for lipoarabinomannan enzyme-linked immunosorbent assay. Coincidence? Probably. But it didn't feel like one. Others suggested government involvement, that Elisa had uncovered something she wasn't meant to see, that she was eliminated and her death staged to look like an accident. The hotel had a reputation: crime, violence, overdose, suicide. Could someone have killed her and hidden her body, knowing no one would question it in a place like the Cecil? A YouTuber named Morbid became an unexpected suspect in some online circles, after internet sleuths noted he'd stayed at the Cecil the year before. They claimed his lyrics were disturbing. He received death threats. He wasn't even in the country at the time of her death. But that was the problem. Elisa Lam's story had stopped being a tragedy. It had become entertainment. The truth, whatever it is, remains buried under layers of speculation, grief, and narrative. Elisa's parents filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the hotel, arguing that the building should have been secured, that access to the tanks should have been impossible. The case was dismissed. The Cecil closed in 2017, then reopened in 2021 as low-income housing. The new owners rebranded, painted the walls, replaced the carpet. But the elevators are still there, the rooftop tanks too. And for some, the haunting never ended. Guests still report flickering lights, cold drafts, hallways that seem longer than they should be, elevators that stop on the wrong floor, phones that ring in the middle of the night. Some say Elisa never left. But maybe the haunting isn't about her ghost. Maybe it's about us. About how a young woman, a real person, was reduced to a mystery. About how the internet turned her final moments into a game. About how easy it is to see footage like that and forget the life behind it. Elisa Lam didn't deserve to become a viral video. She deserved help. She deserved to be heard. She deserved to be found before it was too late. She was trying to find herself, and instead, she was lost. Lost in a building full of shadows. Lost in a system that didn't see her. Lost in a world that turned her into a question mark. Some stories never give us closure. Some stories don't end with a monster or a solution. Sometimes they just end. And we're left with silence, the kind that creeps in slowly, that settles in your chest, that doesn't let go. Thank you for listening to The Lantern's Tale. Subscribe for more true stories, if you dare.